It's whatever you both agree on that you both are happiest moving forward with.
When I hug my kids and hold my kids, they know everything is okay.
But if I had a choice to decide, it would be.
All right, we have a special guest today. Christian is joining us. Christian, for those that don't know, is the mover of cookies behind the scenes in the wholesale world.
He's a dough dealer.
Yeah.
I'm a grade A Girl Scout.
That's right.
He is. He's shoveling cookies behind the scenes. He has been the crucial piece of getting Dash Mart on board, and then our Myers rollout and all that stuff. So
we had to do a little special setup for him.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks,
so
guys.
Easty got it all set up for us. Easty Brad hooked it up. They got the tech stuff done. So.
Yeah, he's here for the week, kind of overseeing the big Dash Mart order that potentially is going to get run this week.
Hey, we can't tell everybody that totally yet. But it's coming in hot.
This will come out after the Dash Mart cookie comes out, so we can say a lot of stuff.
Let's do it. So it's going to be the DoorDash and Chill cookie.
Check it out on the app, right? So you can go to DoorDash. They've got an app across the area. It's not in ours. Otherwise, I'd pull it up and show it for you. But we should get that hooked up. Easty, can you chop us short? Maybe if we get you a picture, probably.
I can find it. Yeah, you can choose your location on Dash Mart, and you can change location to like Atlanta or one of the places we are, and you can pull up our cookies.
Well, so anyways, big news coming. If you saw like on Aubrey's thing or Brad's, whatever, obviously you'll see more from them. But yeah, a lot of big stuff coming, and Christian's kind of the reason for a lot of that. So thanks, bro. Really appreciate having you here.
Yeah, so we figured we'd have Christian on for twofold. One, to talk about the business stuff, because I know a lot of people love to hear about growth of Fat and Weird, and Christian's been here for about a year now. Not quite, but close to it.
Right now.
And, Christian actually found out about me through Max Tuning's podcast, so it's kind of funny that now he's on a podcast.
You're on one.
Yeah.
So
Inception.
To start out too, Christian also is about to be a first-time dad. And so we figured it'd be fun to talk business and dad life with Christian. A lot
Brad
to tell you about.
We were both entrepreneurs before we had kids, and man, did it change. So we can get into that later. But it's a fun ride. The hardest and best thing that I would do over again every single day. Is have my kids.
We'll go ahead and let Christian start with like a dad question for us, and then we'll just see where this takes us. Here we go.
So I guess the biggest one that I've immediately been thinking about, and I know both your wives, both wives are wonderful, is how has been able to balance your husband-wife relationship and your first child. So I know Adam does have multiple, and Brad and Aubrey have one. So I know it changes over the kids. So I just want to kind of...
Yeah. Brad, you want to jump on the first one?
Yeah, I think that dynamic at first is a big adjustment. You're essentially now sharing your wife with someone else that needs your wife more than you need your wife.
That's a huge one.
And I think that the difficult part is just like I don't know, like skating that fine line between being available for your wife and how she needs, and then understanding that there's a short-term sacrifice you're going to have to make on your own personal needs. And I mean, that's really it. I think it's compromise, sacrifice, communication about those things. I think that the only issues really arise when you like don't communicate how you're feeling about situations and you let that fester. Sure. I know I'm a terrible one for like that.
Something that, you kind of continue to have to evolve and grow into. And some people do it better than others, and I don't know that I have any secrets, but to sharing your wife with the child, I mean, they need their mother so much. And whatever, but like, I got married. I needed my wife. I needed her. That's why we got married, So, and like, is what it is. You got to swallow that a little bit. Now, again, people do it differently, and like, whenever you need them, they're still able to be there. You're not gonna, you're not both drowning at the same time, but it's just more like, it's just kind of. And then furthermore, what happened with me, but I know this happens because I hear it from a lot of my dude friends. You feel like you aren't getting the attention. And no matter, I'm sure plenty of dudes out there stop giving their wives attention. But like in my case, I felt like I was giving my wife at least as much attention as I was before. But I'm also having to give attention to this child. I'm spending time with this child. I want to spend time. It's my child. So there probably were times where she needed something that I wasn't giving her and I didn't know. And had we gotten a fight about it, I was being a good dad, but she was being a good mom, and it's easy to hide behind that. And so at some point you just realize that like, yeah, your life is different. But like I said, the hardest best thing, I would do it again in a effing heartbeat. Bro.
Yeah. I think
every day of the week.
I'm a completely different person than I was
Yes.
2-3 years ago. And I would say predominantly those changes were because of having a child. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I can explain it to everyone out there. And if you don't have a kid, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
Even people I know that are pregnant, they don't get it until they have the kid.
Yeah, and moms get it way better than dads do. I think they realized something. It took me holding my son for it to slap me in the face.
But the reason I say that is because no matter how I portray this to you, you are probably not going to understand it or not fully grasp what I'm saying. But like you immediately feel this immense amount of love for something that came into the world that like literally didn't do anything yet other than come into the world. Right. And then for me, I felt like this, which I know my situation is different than Adam's. Like I grew up with both my parents in a home. Sure. So like I immediately had this like, dang, I didn't appreciate my parents enough.
Oh, I felt the same way.
Okay.
No, I did.
Yeah,
I was like, man, I was such a dick to my mom. I was like, well,
yeah.
I mean,
I literally wanted to cry. Yeah, emotions just flood in, and I wanted to cry right then because I'm like, man, I'm not a good son. You know, and I say that. I think if you ask my parents would tell you that I'm a good son.
But you go, I love this thing so much. And like, truth of the matter is I love my mom, but I love nothing on this planet more than my children.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing holds a candle to it. I don't want to compare anything to it because it makes it seem like I don't care, but it's like, dude, I will give my child my heart.
Yeah. I'll
give you a kidney if I really love you, but like my heart means I die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So like, so that to me, and the sharing the thing to your wife though, that's tough. Everybody has their own ways of doing it, but it all, communicating. Everything.
I was going to say, that is key right there. So many people are going to tell you how to parent, to be the man of the family, how to do all this stuff. And the truth is like, it's whatever works for your family dynamic. I think one of the most frustrating things is like hearing outside noise about how you need to do something. And you're like,
oh, that's a life though.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I know. But same thing. So I'm not unsusceptible to it.
Some people will tell you, oh, you need to split your wake ups. And then other people will be like, you need to go every other day. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you both agree on that you both are happiest moving forward with, however you break up the responsibilities. But there is more responsibilities now. It's like, but I can tell you before Letty was born, Aubrey really predominantly cooked the meals, cleaned up the house, and did the more traditional female things. I don't really feel like getting roasted for this, but we had a more traditional relationship. However, since Letty's been born, I clean a lot more. I pick up a lot more. And Aubrey is the primary caregiver for Letty. It just, I work more hours away from the building. Aubrey is
divisions of labor work for families. They work for a lot of different things. I'm not gonna go hard. I don't care if I get roasted. Biology says that women are supposed to be fucking around the babies most of the time. They're babies. Now, Letty's 2.5. My girls are older and they don't need their mother. No, they don't. They need their father out there getting it because that's what works for our family dynamic, right? So whether or not, I'm not going to get into the dynamics of who's a breadwinner, who stays at home. That doesn't matter. But like, children need their parents for different reasons. They need dad to like physically make sure everything is okay, and they need mom to like comfort their nurture their soul, man. Like when I hug my kids and hold my kids, they know everything is okay.
Yeah, protected. They
know they're good.
Yeah.
When Kirsty comes in and adds to the hug, dude, it's just like, we all feel like, I don't know, next level.
Yeah.
Myself included.
Well, I want everybody to know that both of these fathers / friends that I have grown over the past year have been amazing. So I know that a lot of this advice that I'm going to be taking, it's going to go to heart, and it's been fun. So.
We put him on the spot right away for this. So,
we literally decided to have him on the podcast today.
He's killing it right now. Yeah, he's killing it right now.
I did one thing that I really liked on this one is we all handled, as this business has grown, we've reached into a lot of different questions and challenges, and they really are even coming up today with different vendors. But as the business is growing, unexpected things have you seen from changing in your family and the challenges within your family as this business has grown?
Yeah, I think that my schedule is more unpredictable now than it's probably ever been, truthfully. And I think that dynamic can be a little bit more frustrating just because, I'm this way, and I think a lot of people are, is they like kind of idealize their day or their life or whatever it is. And so when those ideals don't come to fruition, they just feel like extra frustrating, right? Like if I told you you're going to get a flat tire on your way to work today and you were expecting to get a flat tire and then you got it, you're like, oh, got a flat tire. But like when you're expecting not to get a flat tire and you get one, you're like, this is the end of the world.
Well, no, man. And truth of the matter is, and I've been there with you, but I've been there myself too. It's like, if I'm going to take the time to freaking plan this stuff out, follow it, so it's like, I mean, at least if my plan fails somehow, cool. But it's like, if I took the time to do all this shit.
Well, yeah, and Adam and I have been working a lot on the machinery, and it's unpredictable. I mean, we'll all of a sudden be like clipping along, and it will be cruising, and then it will literally, the wheels will fall off, and you're like, what is going on? So I think that the unpredictability about this season has been extra difficult, but Aubrey has really stepped up and done a lot for me. I mean, like today I came in and lunch was made. And I know, just those things shows me like, hey, you know what? You're working really hard and like I have some extra time. I'm going to take care of this thing for you. So
love it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So kind of touching on your question, man, it's just, how does it change? You evolve with it. Like you kind of have to. It's not everything is seasons, but it's like, it's your life, dude. You're living with it. You have a wife every day, you have a kid every day, and you have a business every day. So like, you just really, at least for me personally, kind of taking a step back. When I exited out of the fast food stuff, we did pretty well. We didn't do anything. I did some consulting or whatever. Like I hung out with my wife all day, every day, my kids, whenever. So then coming back here on a huge growth curve.
Yeah.
And, I'm lucky to have a supportive wife. It's not that we haven't like butted heads a little bit about it, but I'm lucky to have a supportive wife about it. But this is what it is, man. I also live for this shit. So I love it. She likes seeing me like fueled up and happy.
But it's drastically different for you than the life that you had.
Well, it's drastically different for where we've been at different stages.
Right.
So because I've growthed and then kind of coasted and growth and then when we exited, I literally had nothing to do from being like this busy, at least this busy. And so I'm back to being in a state where I kind of, I want to get things a little more chill, but like, yeah, this is okay for me. Now, what do we do as a family? Well, I have to be extra aware of like, man, I might be staying late. I'm up earlier than them. I might not see them in the morning or much at night. So like, I better swing by and see them during the day or have lunch with them. And we're lucky because my wife now homeschools our kids, but, that's huge. It's something to think about. If my kids were in school all day long and I didn't get to see them and I was at work all morning, then like taking important sales calls like I did when Liam was a kid, but I fucking regret it because I never saw him that much. At certain ages, once US Lawn started taking off. But
being more deliberate with your time. Yeah, that's what I kind of heard from all that stuff.
And y'all out there, y'all dude entrepreneurs, man, it's kind of draining feeling too when you're like, don't get the respect or don't get the whatever of like, dude, I am trying so hard to see you and spend time with you.
Yeah.
Right. I think, being more deliberate with your time is something that like, that I really resonate with like Adam talking about is because,
it ain't easy.
It's very easy for me, which I know Christian's not on social media at all, so this won't be as hard for him, but like, I'll catch myself sitting on the couch, scrolling social media while I'm sitting next to Letty, but I should be like,
quality.
And
it's
so like
easy.
it's easy, especially when you just had a trying day and you're like, I just want to relax too.
Before any of y'all jump in here and say anything else, the amount of times I see it, I'm guilty of it myself. I do it myself, but people, how many people spend real quality time with their kids and how much do you spend of it? Like, what is it? And that's important.
Yeah.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
I've got many here, but this one's completely out of left field.
Okay.
So I know Adam's kids are homeschooled. He used to be in a private school. Letty's getting to that age. What is the proper route of education nowadays? It's hard.
Public school. not public school at all.
It's so I know all three of us were in public school.
I went to public school.
And we all grew up to what we are now. Great human beings, great men. But how are the things changing, and how have they changed since you were a kid?
People are too different to be grouped in masses and taught the same stuff for that long.
Yeah. I just want to preface this by saying that I had some really amazing teachers, and I'm sure Adam did too. Yes. So this is not a knock on you if you're a teacher in the public school system. It's really the system itself that is flawed. Like Adam was saying, you have kids. I mean, I actually, when I was in high school, I went back to elementary school to like help. They had this like internship program, and we like helped in a class. We like read to kids, things like that. Yeah. But I remember just in one class having kids that could read fine, and they could read the whole book all the way through, and they could comprehend it. And then I had other kids that couldn't even read the book. And the system was setting those kids up that couldn't read the book for failure because they weren't going to help them build the blocks necessary to get there. They were like, you're behind. You just need to stay behind.
You're in a remedial.
I think every time government steps in, people step out. So like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it was like with other people's families, but my mom used to work with my ass every day on anything. It's not like I was even behind on anything. I was doing all kinds of extra work. Really, I was a kind of smart kid, and I got in trouble and stuff. And he'd be like, "Here, Adam, do this stuff." But like, good parenting, you know. But like, I don't think they do that anymore. I hear friends with kids just like complain that work exists or that work whatever, and we can go off on whether homework. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying you have 30 kids, you have 30 different everythings right there. If half of them get the subject that you're still trying to teach, they're not learning. If half of them don't, they're not learning. If it's too far above their head, they're not learning.
Yeah, and the really difficult thing, I think, is that obviously what we're talking about by homeschooling or private schooling or whatever you want to do, we realize that that's a luxury that some people will not be able to do. But at the end of the day, for us, I think that Aubrey and I are on the same page, is that we will most likely either homeschool, private school, or some kind of like combination of that situation, just because the truth is, as great as I did in elementary school and middle school and high school, that all of those accolades don't really matter in life. And I think that there's a much more fulfilling childhood to give kids if you're able to.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say, look, Brad and I are able to do this, but it's also very important to us to do so. So like, if you are, I don't know, at an age where you're just past the point that that's possible at all, well, okay. But I doubt you're watching this channel anyways, because we're motivating, trying to get people to improve themselves and grow and stuff like that. If you like, that's important. My family, once I have my family in lockdown, I've like won the game that is this life.
Yeah.
Why God put me here. I've got that. Now everything else is like, I mean, it might be scary, but it's all like fun. It's like playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really it. I mean, I think that, in my opinion, it's just like, I would rather not put Letty into schools. Like, I like her in her little preschool she's in. There's like 6 kids in the class. That's it. There's 6 or 8 kids, and there's like 2 teachers. So it's a really good awesome dynamic right there. You know?
Don't get me wrong, man. I think there's so much for kids being in programs or even types of schooling or whatever where they're around kids. But I feel like society has decided, like literally, like, boom, you will have educated my child.
Do you feel like
I've just completely given the government the keys to that, man? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy. No. It's my child. It's my name. It's my everything. It's my responsibility. If I'm on my deathbed and my child could feel bad. I mean, I'm sure that
we can probably bring up some very valid arguments that what happens between the ages of 5 and 18 are crucial in the adult that you become. Sure. And by your kids going to school for 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So like 8 hours a day, 40 hours. So your kids are going to school for 40 hours a week. Like, that's going to be a large factor in shaping them to the people that they are.
Damn right.
Absolutely. So that's where we'll leave it there.
Yeah, cool, man. Let's get another question now. What do we got?
So this kind of falls in line of generation questions of in what way do you feel like your fatherhood has changed from how you were brought up, and how you now parent your children?
Okay. I mean, I got a sappy answer, I guess. I didn't grow up with a dad that much, man. Like, he was in my life enough, but he lived over in Texas when I was growing up here in Florida. And then, there was kind of some stuff where we just had a hard stop for a number of years. We've reconnected here, lately, and who knows what is going to become of it. Oh, man. But, I spent a lot of time thinking about the dad I wish I had, and I just try to be that person to my son every time I can. I got further to topic on that topic, but go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, for me, I did different upbringing than Adam. I had both, my parents around and involved, but they started their business 3 months after I was born.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is something I've talked about with my parents. I don't think this will like shock them, but like I feel like my dad was home sometimes, but like my dad wasn't around. I mean, he would work
mentally.
Yeah, he would. Well, I mean, sometimes he just physically would. Like he would get up before we got up, and he'd be gone, and then he would get home like when we were going to bed, and then on the weekends. I know it's going to sound crazy, people, but we were like so poor that he would go out spearfishing with his buddies to get food, essentially. I mean, he would come back and like my mom would be excited when he brought back like 10 fish because it's like that's meals for days, When
we had the gym going, man, I was tending bar and doing everything I could on the weekends too, even when Liam was alive.
So I think that that's something that I'm very cognizant about now is that my parents have built a very successful company. They're living a great life. And I've never really asked my dad this of like, does he like regret maybe not spending more time with me? I know like I played baseball as a kid and they would come to the games, but I remember like kids go like batting, practicing in their backyard with their dad or throwing the ball. And like, I didn't do those things. Sure. So like, I kind of just showed up and was the same level of baseball player the whole time because I didn't have that extracurricular practice that some of these kids had with their dad. But I don't know. And maybe, honestly, maybe it's something I've made up in my mind that he wasn't around as much. Maybe he was around more than I.
Well, and no, I mean, I'm sure, he was an entrepreneur and I know your dad, he's a go-getter and I know you're a go-getter. I feel the same way about myself. I worry all the time that is my son thinking the things that you're saying right now.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to at some point. We just do that. As humans, we kind of, woe is me a little bit. That's fine. That's human nature. I know he's going to do it some points. I don't want him to ever be like really right about it. Yeah. Sort of how you're going like, you're defending, you're going like, there's some part of me that he was an entrepreneur or go-getter. He was busting his ass and I know you know all this. And then when he was home, it's hard to be all the way home. Yeah. Dude. I'm sitting there watching a movie with my family. I'm thinking about cookies and how to improve processes. I'm trying, I'm not like, but so I could see that completely, but I worry and, use this as fuel. If any of y'all want to take it, Christian, remember this shit. When you're sitting there with your soon to be, you'll find out son or daughter. Yep. I don't want to go, dang man, should I have, that's why I dropped what I was doing, take Liam to the anime thing, was drive way the hell over there and stuff. I mean, it was fun. We had a blast because it was just me and him. That wasn't what we were doing, but anyways.
So I think that that's something that, I still think about now. It's like, am I present enough for her? And then I know that right now, the truth is like, I don't remember when I was 2.5. Nope. Like she's not going to remember necessarily these things, but I do know that there are moments that she will remember in this age. So I want to make sure that those moments that she remembers, but I think it's something I'm probably going to be even more cognizant when my kids are closer to your kids' age, Isla's age, Emerson's age. Person. Yeah.
Well, from the outside looking in, buddy, at least I think y'all do a pretty good job. I mean, I know Letty, she's a happy kid. She's bright-eyed, and lives a good life and y'all are around. And so, but that was also kind of the thing is when they do hit like a certain point, for me, it was the first time, and I don't remember the question. I wish I did, but it was Liam asked me an abstract question. Up to a certain point, kids ask very, very kid questions. Yeah. And he was only like 5 or 6, but he asked like a existential type question. And I was like, what made you think of that, buddy? And I answered it. It wasn't deep. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't anything. It was just like something.
Yeah. They start to, their ability to like process thoughts and feelings becomes a big thing then. And then you're like, they're like,
now
they're
I'm like,
feeling
what is
it.
he like? What's on in the background? You know, like I listen to terrible music with terrible words, but they've gotten used to it all now. But for a while I was, you know, I don't listen to words that much, or I'm humming them along, and then I'm like, wait, what are you doing to who?
Well, yeah.
What are you selling?
That actually first happened to me at the wedding this weekend. I was recording Letty dancing, and as I was recording, I started actually listening to the lyrics of that song, and I was like, whoa,
yeah.
You know? I mean, we're in an adult wedding, but I mean, there were kids around. But
Letty was so much fun.
Everyone loved her at the wedding. She was like the life of the party.
So cute.
There was no single females, I think, or there were, but she caught the bouquet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she was
It
so
was great.
excited.
That's awesome.
She was
That's
like,
cool.
I'm at a party. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All right, next one. Yeah. This one's, I feel like, super important whenever your kids get to this age. Again, I don't exactly know, but how do you teach your child about important values and life lessons, and how to model these after your own life?
Literally the short and sweet answer is your child's going to model what you do.
Exactly.
If you want your kids to say please and thank you, then you say please and thank you. If you want your kids to say yes sir, no sir, then you say yes sir, no sir. It's the truly, I don't know. I've heard someone say this, and it obviously is going to relate to kids too, but it relates to your marriage. It's a lot about like marriage is looking in the mirror.
Yep.
And so like when you find like flaws and stuff, they're your flaws that you're seeing presented to you.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like with children as well, you know, you will find your flaws immediately. I think I've become like a much more patient person. I mean, Adam probably tell you this year working with me that just the way we talk to each other has changed a lot.
Hell yeah.
And I think that parenthood is what allowed me to be more fluid and want to change for the better. When you have no reason to become a better person, you know, and not saying that like don't go out and be better, but like you have no catalyst to be like, what is driving these intrinsic thoughts? Like what is making me the way that I am? When you figure those things out, then you can start figuring out where you need to make some changes in your life.
Well, like, you know, I mean, of the things I am on this earth, I'm a father first. So, yeah, you know, husband second, then I can go take on the world, right? I said that earlier, but like, I am a role model to, I mean, beyond that, you know, I mean, but it's one thing. I mean, Brad, you influence people, but like, you need to pick a different word for what you do to your child.
Yeah.
You know, your child wants to be you.
Yeah.
They want to literally be you, become you, you know? So
yeah, you influence the people, but you model for your child.
So you don't teach a kid shit the first little bit. You show them, just like Brad was saying.
Yeah.
Just like you're saying, I want Letty to see me treat Aubrey a certain way so that she aspires to have a relationship that's that way. So, I mean, truly, I think it's just, again, you have to be so much more aware of everything going on. I think that, that's just like part of just being aware. But.
Yeah, man. And then like, truthfully too, like being as transparent as you're comfortable with your kids about what's going on. I try to keep my kids in the loop about like, hey, this is what's going on. I don't try to do it in any kind of way to make sure that they worry. So I guess I downplayed a little bit. But like if money's tight, you know, I say, hey, we're going to be living like this for a little while. If daddy's acting this type of way, it's because of this thing, not because we're going to lose the house. It's just like, hey, we're making a transition. This is all part of the plan. I try to anyways. Yeah. So that way they kind of know. And then you can play games with it. Hey, if daddy is acting like this, just give me a hug. Yeah. So like, you know, Emerson's quick on it. If I should just walk up and give me a hug and I'll be like, oh, yeah. Okay. Because if my wife were to tell me I'm acting away, I'll tell her where she can go, maybe, you know, but Emerson walking up and hugging my leg, I'm like,
oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, modeling it. And then just want to throw this in there. The last time I did kind of get into it with my wife and yell, my son would have heard whatever. I was like, I'm about to go apologize to your mother. I was in the wrong. So I want him to know that like he needs to feel comfortable as a man or whatever he's, you know. Yeah, doing that to his wife. Yeah, and then I did. I went up and told her.
But yeah, and I, like you said, communication. I've told Letty, which I know she's only 2.5, so it's a little bit different. But I've been like, hey, Dad had a really hard day at work today, so he's just really tired.
Well, people do, you know, relationships. A little bit of this at times. The kids don't really need to know the specifics per se. They need to know that like, oh, daddy might just be a little grumpy with each other. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but like, cause otherwise, again, like they are so intuitive that they know you're off.
Yeah.
They know your eyeballs look weird. They know the way you're holding your face looks weird. They didn't speak English and knew how to communicate with you for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
Like they know you better than you know you. So if you and your wife are any type of way with each other or the world or whatever, and you don't let them in, they're going to get, and you're strong enough of an opinion, they can get panicky around you because they don't know how you're going to react around it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all took the How We Love test, and we saw that how we were parented affects our relationships now.
Learned a lot about myself.
It creates avoiders, it creates people pleasers, it creates those things when you don't have an open communication with your children, because otherwise your children don't know what something that Adam has taught me, and I really appreciate this, is which I think is a crucial part of parenting, so I'm glad we're going to talk about this now, is consistency.
Oh, man.
Your children need to know what to expect. If you say you're going to punish your children, you need to punish your children the way that you said you're going to punish your children. If they're taking the iPad away, whatever, you got to do it. But I also think that there's consistency that comes from just like your consistent moods. So if you're not in your normal mood, you need to be able to express to them, hey, daddy's just really tired, so he could just be grumpier right now.
Weird.
And that's completely okay, but they need to know.
Yes.
They
Tell
need
them
to know.
something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah, I think as children, like you're
why are you acting like this?
well, you're like the steadfast part of their life, right? Everything around them changes so much, and you're the source of like comfort and home, right? And so I think to be that, you need to be transparent about like, hey, you know what, daddy's sick today, so he's just not feeling good and he wants to lay on the couch. You didn't do anything wrong, you know, you're not doing anything. Daddy's.
But if you talk to me, I'm probably gonna be, you know, or something like just, hey man, like look, lay it out, it's okay. I agree with you, man. Yeah, that's a big one. The kids, dude.
Yeah.
Intense.
Consistency,
man.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. If you can be consistent with your children, they will learn to love you as much as you love them. And there will be, I know people with the weirdest parents, that they don't really have a lot in common with their parents anymore. I don't have a lot in common with either of my parents. You know, my mom stuck it out for me and put up with me my whole life or whatever. So I ride or die with her. But the consistent communication stuff. My mom and I do not talk about our feelings. Like, it's just sort of like, you good? All right. That's it. Sort of. It's hard for me.
Adam's an avoider. So
yeah, I'm a big avoider. My mom is too. I told her about the test. We talked about it for a little bit, and then we both agreed that we kind of weren't going to talk about our feelings. No, I mean, I love you, Mom. I love you to death. But, you know, I mean, that's just the way I've always been, the way she is. And
Yeah.
Two avoiders together.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to do this last one, and then you guys can ask me questions.
Okay.
So what is the most rewarding aspect of being a father that you've learned as the child's grown?
Currently for me, man, I'm not where my kids have without being like my kids, I'm proud of them for getting up on stage or whatever, but like, you know, I don't have some prodigy in that level. Dude, just the way my kids look at me and the way that I like hugging me. Like, dude, I'm a freaking rock star. Yeah. When I walk in the door, boy, it's like, So that's keeping me going now, but I know they're going to hit teenage years and that's going to go away. So,
I was going to say, like, you know, when Letty says like, good morning, daddy, and stuff like that, or like, she got on this kick where anytime we were leaving, she had to give us a kiss and a hug. Oh. And the first time she did that, which it's still precious now, but the first time she did it, I was like, or the video I have, which she occasionally wants to pray. And I don't know, I lucked out and I started recording. And this is the only time she's actually done it, when she was like, dear God, thank you for my daddy. Thank you for my mommy. And I was like, oh.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen. I love it.
But no, I think those kind of moments are just like moments. Like, I mean, I could cry right now if I really wanted to think about it too much, of just like how she makes me feel, which I guess is like a terrible way to express love. Like, I love her because she makes me feel a certain way, but she only makes me feel that way because I love her so much, you know?
Yeah. The one thing I would say that's going to be tough though, right, is like, you know, my son, if he were to go down any kind of similar path as me, y'all can Google me, whatever. I go hard in the things that I go in. So like, I don't. Nor would I want him to go in the military or do a bunch of different things if he didn't need to. I mean, he can support his country if he's really called to or fulfilled to. I was an angry kid, so he's not going to have to do the same things that I did.
Yeah.
But like, I hope he does his own thing and beats kind of to his own drum. Not that, because I'm worried that I'll go, not like, you should have done. I'm worried that I'll think he should have done better than me.
Right.
And maybe he would, dude. Maybe he blows me out of the water. I'm not trying to be full of myself.
You hope a better life for him, and you dope that he isn't trying to follow in your footsteps to like prove
there
something.
was just so much. I was a certain way, like in the military, that I was like a certain way about things that I don't want him to be like, you should have done harder or whatever. I don't want to be like, hell yeah, because he's a go-getter.
Yeah.
And just in his own way, he's a sweet, sensitive boy. So I don't think we're gonna have those issues anyways.
I don't see Liam
and then my
being the
girl's
same
like,
kind of kid
care.
you were.
Emerson says she's gonna, she's just gonna be with me forever. So I'm like, cool, that actually works. She can live with me forever, and that's it.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
Isla just wants to be whatever she.
Obviously, I think that you're, hoping for a just healthy child. But I have to ask, are you hoping for a boy or a girl?
So
again, this is why I relate this to someone saying, I'm gifting you a car and it's going to be red or blue. Deep down inside, there's a color you would prefer, but you're still excited to get the car. So
boy colored.
So you think boy color?
Boy color.
No, I think you would actually want a girl.
You probably want a girl. I see how you act around girls.
So, well, I was gonna say both you two have precious girls that I love to pieces, and so obviously I really, at this point now that Casey and I are pregnant, I could care less. But if I had a choice and I had to decide, it would be a girl. Cool. Because I want that. I want, like, it's just a kind of a protective
it's so cool.
thing. But,
it's a different relationship.
Yeah, but I also I played college sports and I want to be.
But the other side of that is,
I want to do all that.
Kirsty and Liam have a better relationship. Not better, different.
Yeah.
The male-female bond or something. I don't know what it is, man.
They say a son's first love is his mother.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, it really is. And so, like, so because Kirsty, anytime we see like little boy babies too, we both get hit with that. Oh, that's where our life changed.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't with all babies. I love all babies. Brad will tell you that. But the little boy takes me back to a spot where I was. So, I'm sure little girl maybe would do that, the similar thing for y'all. It's
Aubrey and I are, hoping for another baby, and I think I get asked that question like, oh, you want a boy now? And I was like, to be honest with you, like, I don't care. I said, it would be nice to have a boy just because it's like, now I got a boy and a girl, and I've done both now. But the truth is, it's like, I don't know. The love that I feel like Letty has for me, I don't think a boy will have for me, that kind of love, And so, yeah. It's a different thing,
it is.
But
no, it's you're so right though.
Yeah.
Like, my son loves me. We're down or whatever. I guess what I see in my son is I see a man who won't need my protection one day. And I see two little girls who will have it whether they fucking want it or not for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I like to be needed, and that's an important thing for me. So that's truthfully, and I'm kind of just thinking about that now, but deep. Get back shallow. Here we go.
But yeah, so I mean, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you about that.
And I honestly, like, little girls, I've even since whenever I was younger, I like babysat and did all that, and it was always just happened to be little girls, and it was just like they were always just so funny and playful and just kind of like it was just they're always happy. And there's a couple little boys that I just were able to toss a boy to.
You have a cousin too, right? Or I mean, a nephew.
I have both, and now a nephew and a niece. Okay. My little niece Jade was actually just born earlier in this past week.
Oh wow!
And so she's now 12 days old.
Yeah, because I know you have a nephew, Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, Cooper's 2.5, so he's about the same age as Letty, and he's a boy. He's just likes to run through a brick.
Say hi to him.
Yeah, hi Cooper.
But I said hi to my son earlier.
Yeah.
My other question for you guys is, how are you going to balance like the work-life situation? I know we talked about a little bit. Casey, for people that don't know, is Christian's wife, and she is a full-time nurse. And Christian obviously is in the early startup phases with that and Weird. As far as wholesale goes, obviously been around for a little bit, but like it's a new phase for us. So how are y'all handling? How are y'all going to handle that?
Yeah. So Casey and I have talked about this, and Casey with her own, I'm going to kind of go back on this because I was actually asked this question this past weekend by my father and his significant other. And it was interesting to kind of hear about the dynamic of Casey wants to stay full-time. That's what she wants to do. Cool. So it's funny. I was actually just here about a month ago, and I get a text saying, "Hey, I locked down a nanny or a daycare." And I was like, "Holy moly! You've only been pregnant for like 6-7 weeks, whatever it was."
But you gotta get her on that shit early.
And she's like, I had to do it, and I was like, "We don't even like." And this is going a little deeper. We had a little bit of a mishap with a chemical pregnancy before, and so it kind of put us in a mindset of, is this going to happen? And in my head, it's just like Adam, like you don't really have it until you hold it. And so that's kind of the mindset I'm still in right now.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny because I'm like, well, Casey's going to do that. We're going to send the baby to daycare after maternity leave and everything going to get settled. But I'm going to be the stay-at-home dad that still travels and all that stuff. So I'm not too afraid of managing it, but there's going to have to be a lot of either family help or that daycare is going to come in handy for sure. So
yeah, we did nanny for like the very beginning. You know, Letty was here with a nanny, and that was very helpful because Aubrey could still poke out. We were very present still. And then that was like one-on-one time with Letty, and in my opinion, just a very crucial time for her, which, you know, a lot of people will say Letty's like very advanced, and it's probably just the amount of time that she got one-on-one either with the nanny or with us.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. My son got a lot of one-on-one time before, when he was very, very young, and he got ahead, and then as he got a little bit older, business stuff took off. But
yeah, I'd say the biggest thing too is for like kids, a lot of people don't talk to kids the way that they talk to each other. Yeah. And if you just talk to your kids like you talking to an adult, they will pick up on it way quicker. And Letty's speech is very good. Like Letty Letty is 2.5 and she will literally full conversation with you, like full sentences, tell you like, say, "Hey, how's that protein shake? It's good," you know? Yeah. And like, "Can I try this?" It's full everything. And I think a lot of that just has to do with just like talking to her like she's not a child, you know? But
you're going to have to put your face way closer in that microphone when you talk, though. Maybe lift it up. Sorry. I did. Go back and look at our first couple episodes, man. You can't hear me. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, everybody?" So anyway.
Hello.
You'll have to see what that looks like.
It's because you're a mover and a shaker.
I am a mover, man. I'm a mover. No, that's all very, yeah.
Well, I know that people love the business stuff, so I'm going to segue into that.
Yeah.
Christian, why don't you give people just a high-level look at Fat and Weird over the next 6 months? Like, what does that look like? You know, what milestones that are coming up, maybe different brands.
Maybe start with what we're doing, like the vertical wise. So we kind of e-com, what everybody knows us, fatandweird.com. That's kind of being ran by, you know, the powers that be as they already were. Brad spearhead and all that. We've got Alex on the team, all that stuff. But then we've got 2 products, right? We've got bulk, which people will be able to buy in retail establishments or
absolutely.
And then we've got wholesale. So if you want to jump in on what those are and where they're going, I think that'd help these people.
Yeah. So bulk is obviously the packaging that you see on our e-com that we've been moving for since 2018 that Brad and Aubrey invented, and it's been an incredible staple product for us.
Y'all know 5.5 ounce stuffed cookies, baked and in a bag, ready to eat. So
thank you. Yeah. And so now we're going into distribution to get that into retailers' hands. So I've got quite a few retailers that have either came to fruition, whether that be a Cold Stone, which keep your eye out on that one. Yeah. I'm very excited about that because it's going to be something that a national brand like them loves a smaller to medium-sized company like us. And so that's another opportunity that's coming to fruition, as well as we've got GoPuff, Dash Mart. We're doing amazing, fun stuff with. I've really built a strong relationship with them. They're gonna skyrocket, and so everybody knows, we're still growing with them like crazy. So
so we've got primarily we've got apps that you can get our cookie on delivered to your door, fulfilled by some retail app experience in your hometown.
Yep.
And then what Christian is also talking about is we have partnered with, or we are in the process of potentially partnering with physical retail establishments that you can walk in and buy our cookies also.
Absolutely.
And like, what kind of growth is that? I mean, like, what kind of volumes are we talking about?
To be honest with you, in the past, so we onboarded Dash Mart in pretty much May of this year. And they're doing probably around 13 to 15,000 cookies of just Fat and Weird. And then we've got another 15-ish thousand cookies that they're doing of their own private label cookie.
Yeah.
Right. So cool.
30,000 cookies just
Good
going
job,
out
buddy.
very regular basis.
Yeah, and then also GoPuff.
Yep.
Do you know what's the location for GoPuff? Do you know?
So South Miami or South Florida is where we're starting. That is 2% of their locations, and I know we're going to blow that out of the water because we have a model that's been able to do that.
Yep.
And so I'm super excited for them because they're a great company to work with already. But it's more a fact of this platform for our baked cookies are getting it to people right away. Whenever you're hungry at 2 a.m., people
want to see those hot cookies on the gram, dog. We want to be able to get them as fast as possible.
You know, that's something that I've always wanted was obviously when you start a business, you want to get your products to as many people as possible. So the best way to do that is just an e-commerce platform and then just ship them the products. But I've always wanted people to get the cookies and like the day they wanted them rather than order them a week before they needed them. So I think that this is just a really cool to see that. And I'm really excited about the partnerships with people like Cold Stones because I think it'd be really, really cool if people can get hot, fresh cookies the same day.
And let us grow really fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's kind of what wholesale's doing as well. Like you will go to a Myers location's our first one. We find out about Publix and
Publix,
HEB.
HEB.
Well, so to kind of jump in on that it's really cool because
talked about that.
Because no, to touch on what Brad was talking about. The two products that you guys, because I don't know how familiar everyone is, we have a wholesale product which is a 4-pack bag. We've shown the bags. Okay. It's got 4 frozen cookies in it, and it'll be sitting in your freezer. So they won't just be able to get it same day. They might have it in their freezer.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you don't, whip out your DoorDash app or your GoPuff app or several more that we haven't quite
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, a few more, and order it. It'll be in your house in 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Bang, boy.
But I think I'm just most excited about that because, you know, as much as I love our cookies, like I literally had one yesterday from a package that was a couple days old. As much as I love them that way, I love them so much more fresh out of the oven. And I'm just really looking forward to people being able to experience the cookies the way that like I had created them to be enjoyed, you know?
Yeah.
And so if you think our cookies are phenomenal, which they are out of the package, your mind will be blown once you can bake them yourself at your house.
Hell yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I believe that, man.
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly. That's why I'm here. I love hearing you say that.
no, I mean, 100%. Yeah.
That's serious.
So
Hell yeah.
I do have to give a little bit of shout out to one of our, I guess he is our customer now, Joshua, which is a franchisee for Papa Murphy's and Cold Stone.
Yeah.
He's been the kind of the cornerstone, driving person to get us in front of these Cold Stone and Papa Murphy's. So Papa Murphy's will be a 4-pack bag and take and bake. There's going to be other options within that, but that's another retail location you'll be able to walk into and get Fat and Weird product. Just like Brad said, the best way to get them. So
Well, yeah, and so just to kind of high level, so we can go through other things, but like what Christian is saying is that and why it's so exciting to us is the growth side. So on the big names you heard, Papa Murphy's, Cold Stone, whatever, they have between them 2,000 locations plus. Potentially, boom, you see our brand everywhere. That's very, very exciting for us. All these retail stores that we're going to be in, we're going in them. You're going to see our brand there too. But then also the bulk package, the ability to deliver it, we're going to be everywhere, y'all. And this is so neat. But just so you know, we're in the getting there phase, and that's very stressful.
And we're not even talking about food service, which I won't get into that too much. But like that's our possibility. I mean, that is what Hershey's.
Once we get to Hershey's, we're gonna have.
That's what Hershey's has reached out to us about. Then So I wanted to bring it up. I know it's Publix and HEB in January. Who else? Is there anyone else I'm missing? I didn't.
So Amazon Fresh, or what they call like their fresh market, will be launching within that first quarter.
Maybe. Depending on what Amazon does.
It really depends on Amazon's movement.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, they've really been wanting our product for a while. And so now that we have been able to have the wholesale and it's really came to fruition on the 4-pack bag, that's going to be something that's going to be a good item for them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I think, you know, you probably don't hear me talk about it as much just because like I'm one of those people that likes to get there before I talk about things because
sure.
I don't know. I'm sure most of you guys have those friends in your life that like you hear them always talking like all this cool stuff that's happening. And then you're like a year later, you're like, what happened to like X, Y, and Z? And like, oh, it fell through. And so I always, Christian will tell you, I go, what's the actual, can you give me like probability of this one?
He asks for percentages. Of, hey, is this going to close or not?
Yeah. Like, is this like a 20% thing or is this like an 80% thing? You know, when you tell me like, are you telling me because like there's an inkling of hope, or is it because like, oh, this is probably going to happen unless something derails it?
Well, I'm loud as hell, but y'all can watch me get what I get done. I get shit done. So watch me. Come with me if you want to.
But no, I think that, you know, the truth is, I have said this before. I can show you God's hands and His involvement in everything that we've done at Fat and Weird.
Amen.
Absolutely.
From the moment that we launched Fat and Weird, I mean, first off, Panama City, Florida is not a big place. To have a commercial kitchen that you can rent space in Panama City, Florida, is pretty lucky.
It is.
And
Y'all
that's
have
how
to
we were
just-
able to start out, and then to immediately be able to like find a commercial kitchen that's like 1,000 square feet that we could rent and have on our own. To find this land that I found for like, I mean, it's centrally located in Panama City, and I paid $100,000 for
It's
this.
as centrally as located as you can get. I mean, seriously.
And so the people that have come in, I mean, I can talk about money coming in at just the right time. The way things have done it, God hasn't put me in a comfortable position.
Nope.
But, you know,
He don't do that.
No, he does not.
He's always provided, even when I didn't think I was going to make it through things. So, I still worry. I don't think I'll ever get away from that. That's just my personality. I'm always going to be a worrier. That's why I got people like Christian and Adam in my life to like pull me out of that.
Sure, that team.
But no, I mean, even Adam, we went to school together, you know, at the same time. We knew who each other were. We talked a little bit when we were both in the military, but in general, like God, you know, brought him back into my life at the right time, and he got to see a lot of this from the sidelines, and then was in a position to help me when I truly needed the help, because there were times that he probably could have been involved with it, but it wouldn't have been as crucial as it is now.
Well, we even kind of kicked around the idea before a while back, but I was like, I didn't see any need for myself. I'm like, I think I'll be stepping all over your toes.
Well, you verbatim were like, I mean, I could come in here and do stuff, but like, I feel like there's not a need for me.
I feel like you do it enough, you know.
You know, and like,
but now we're big and we're getting bigger, and we're only going to get even bigger. So, you know, the more heads we can get on things.
Well, and the Christian, you know, we went on that podcast with Max because Aubrey had like gotten a trip. We go to Houston for that Dress Up Buttercup, which is like their version of Shark Tank, and we were going on it, but we weren't going to take a deal because we had just essentially accepted a deal to sell Fat and Weird. So like all these situations, God blocked us from creating a deal there.
Yep.
Put us on a podcast. Like, there's just so many things that you can call them coincidence if you don't believe in God, but I'm going to say that there's divine
y'all
hands
can kick
involved,
rocks, okay? We like to believe in happy miracles around here, man, and like it makes life worth living, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but no, that's it. This was a. Well, actually, have we been going an hour? Because I was going to cut it, but I feel like
57.
But we also were going probably 7 minutes for bathroom breaks. So.
I also, do you have any questions?
Yeah. So Eastman's back here for those that can't see. Yeah. Eastman is a double dad now. He just had Sophia in August. Yeah. So, you know, it's been about 2 months.
By the way, to hold that baby.
Before you answer any of that, there was a picture I got from Adam while there was you four plus Alex on a Zoom call, and y'all were having a meeting together. And I was like, oh, am I not cool enough? I'm not a dad yet.
That's right.
And he's like, no. I was like, it definitely was.
Oh,
so it had
new shit.
New Balances and jean shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a present for you, but it was the first time you told us, and then you came and you weren't. So I didn't give it to you. So after this podcast, I have to give you your present.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we
All
got
right.
you something too.
Oh, boy.
I was like, shit,
It's
what do I do
small.
with this?
Like
Yeah.
I'm hyping this up.
we
It's super small.
Like announcing on the
congratulatory
podcast.
gift.
Yeah. Like this is like low level fruit over here. Like I don't think it's a blowing up, but it was a thought that I had at that time, and then afterwards, So, but yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, this
thank
was a
you.
good one. This was
Thank you.
fun.
Well, hold on. I still need the question from you. Just one.
One
Sorry.
dad question.
One
Don't worry
dad
about it.
question.
One dad question?
One dad question.
I don't know. My brain's fried at this point.
Come on.
Come on, we're
Just
putting you on
one.
the spot.
Yeah.
Think of something.
Hey, they put me on the spot. ChatGPT's help though.
Think about a difficulty that you've had or something
Yeah.
like that, and then just rephrase it as a question.
Stubborn kids, man. My daughter's getting to that point where she will throw a tantrum and will not listen one bit. And you get to the point where it's like, I'm not out of anger, but like, I need to discipline at a higher level, but I don't know how to do that effectively.
So for me, something that I've learned that like will stop Letty's like tantrums and things like that is like it's so weird, but you start giving them logical questions to answer. And I learned this from like social media. Someone told me that the children aren't able to flip between their emotional brain and logical brain as easily. So if you can pull them back to the logical brain, which is like math questions, color questions like that, it almost like derails their meltdown, and they like go and start answering these questions and they forget why they're upset. That's like a weird way. Adam has way more probably experience than that with me, but like
Teach them what that gets them.
Yeah.
If you do this, this
Consistently.
is your reward.
You definitely won't get a fat and weird cookie. That's for sure.
Well, no, I mean, why are they doing it? Of course, we can dive into all kinds of like down into the weeds of the questions of why your child is acting that way. Most of the time, pick it. You could have messed up and just hurt your kids' feelings, pissed them off or whatever. But a lot of the times, they are dealing with you being inconsistent and they're melting down. Because the last time I asked for it, you gave it to me, and this time you're not. So I'm legitimately upset because I expected to get it. If I go into the store and I tell my child I'm not going to buy them a ball, and I buy them a ball or a toy, then they expect. I'm teaching my child that I lied to them, first of all, and that second off, their expectation management. I told them they wouldn't get it, but now they do get it. So when I say they won't, guess what they expect?
Yeah.
So it's just very important, right? We touched on consistency, but that stuff goes across the board. That you're typically dealing when it is just an overwhelming. Kids get sad. Kids are emotional. Sure, that's
big
great. I mean,
emotions,
the logical thing is great too, but it's just like I mean, and some kids maybe have conditions or whatever, but it's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why did you think you were even gonna get the iPad?
Yeah.
Oh, because you get the iPad so much. And because at some point that gets you back the iPad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I pull out a lighter and turn it on, I would never do this to my child, and I say, touch it. And you touch it once.
Yeah.
Not all the time you touch it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, if I do this, then this happens.
Right.
Now, again, yes, we have a more traditional thing. So, yes, I have spanked my kids. I don't like to use that as a whatever, but there have been times where I'm just like, you do this shit again. Like, I didn't make my point. Don't ever whatever it is. But like consistency, man.
Yeah. And for like the meltdowns that come from like big emotions, like I'm sure you've seen it before, like I'm not ready to leave the play place. Like they're not necessarily as like a conditional training that happens, but
no, well, you're at the age where, your daughter's at the age where, do you let her just stay for 5 more minutes when she says, I want to?
Right.
Sorry. I actually completed the sentence that said, hey, Liam, it's time to go.
Right.
I didn't say it's almost time to go.
Yeah.
If I oopsed and said it's time to go, Kirsty would, if we brought her, we got in fights about this, but I would just say, baby, I told him it was time, not about time.
Yeah.
I fucked up. I want to now let him stay. I can't. I don't know.
But no, I mean, that comes back to the consistency, and I agree.
It's hard. It's hard to recognize it in the moment. It's hard. Oh, please.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, or just one more, and then
Right?
two more happens and 3
No,
more
I'm not going to
happens.
get you one. Please. Oh, okay. I'm being a good dad, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm learning. My child is subconsciously learning they can manipulate me.
I don't know. Do you want me to tell you no?
That they should be. I mean, no. I feel like I'm kind of not.
Yeah.
Because I said the first thing, not because I did the second thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? I know that that's like To me, anyways, Inception or some shit.
Well, yeah, and I think everyone in this room would say that their words are important. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? I'm going to follow through.
Yep.
So you also
yeah,
relates
if your
to
wife says she's going to do something for you and then does. Now, I know we don't think of it the same way. Like, I'm not going to buy you something when I go to the store and then they show up and hand it to you. You're not like, but you might start going, if she did that enough, going like, she probably going to get me something.
Yeah.
She probably going to get me something.
Yeah.
And then when they get home and they don't have something for you, which they in fact said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
You aren't going to act like a child's temper tantrum, but you're going to go like, dang. For no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why your kid's acting that way.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Dr.
Yeah,
Phil.
it is. Yeah.
Man.
Hey, good job.
You know what? I don't know how
Good
many
question.
views this podcast is going to get, but this is a good podcast.
Well, whatever.
it is.
I'm happy. We got all them dang cookies out of the freezer today. It's been a good
Yep.
day.
It has been a
Nobody's
good day.
called me about anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam and I
No
do,
fires.
Adam and I do have to go meet with a lawyer in 30
We do
minutes.
have to
though,
go
so.
meet with a lawyer.
But-
and we do
That's
have
fun.
to find a ton of cream cheese chips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Whatever. We
that's
got-
my job.
well, we have-
I'm going to get doing that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast episode so we could talk about dads and business life.
Thank you for having me, boys.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
It's
it.
great having you on.
You're worth it. Do hard shit.